prior commitment. But thank you all for coming out today. This is our third annual faculty development session for Read Today, Read Tomorrow. And today I'm just going to give a real quick bio. We have Matt Wallace, who is the artistic director of Shakespeare Behind Bars. He's going to tell you a little bit about that, so I'm not going to do it any injustice by talking about that. I guess I should say that I know Matt from college. We went to college together, and so that's where I kind of am familiar with him, but he's also developed this professional background as well. And so he's going to talk today about some of his work and give us some ideas about how we can maybe borrow some of his ideas, the ideas he uses in order to help our students engage with the text a little bit more. I know it's a big complaint a lot of people always have, which is that we give the students something to read, and then they say, why should I care about this? And so hopefully Matt's going to give us some ideas about how we might be able to tap that way of thinking a little bit. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Matt Wallace.
Thank you. So good to be here. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and it's been so nice to be back here in New Orleans. It's been 23 years since I was last here, so things have changed a little bit, and I've changed a little bit, and so thanks so much for having me. I'm an actor, director, theater teacher, and artistic director of Shakespeare Behind Bars. And as he mentioned, I also hold the distinction of attending undergrad with Dr. Jay Todd at Webster University. 20 years ago, we were freshmen, 20 years ago. So it's been nice to be back, and I told him I could do a whole PowerPoint presentation on that experience, but I will not. But I did have to throw in a couple of photos that I could not resist. Scanning a couple, you see. Yeah, that's what 20 years ago looks like. So when he called and asked me to talk about getting reluctant readers to connect with text, my first thought was, I'm a reluctant reader, or at least I was. What do you read, my lord? Words, words, words. What's the matter, my lord? Between who? I mean the matter that you read. It's from Hamlet. I'm not a doctor. I know there's a lot of doctors here, but I actually have played one on TV a couple different times. But I'm a theater artist, and I approach the work from the angle of an artist. And I've been working professionally in the theater for about 20 years. In the last 12 years, I've been doing the majority of Shakespeare. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on. So hopefully, through going through some of my experiences working with the incarcerated and the at-risk and lots of different populations, you'll be able to take something, maybe incorporate the arts into your classroom. I work with Shakespeare Behind Bars, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. As I look back over the course of my career, there's a kind of a common theme that I've been drawn to, and that's working with the at-risk and incarcerated. And whether it be touring to the hills of Kentucky, in rural Kentucky doing Shakespeare when I perform with my wife, or working inner city Chicago doing HIV/AIDS and violence prevention theater for several years, and most recently with Shakespeare Behind Bars. I grew up in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and a lot of my teachers would get us to connect to Shakespeare in how a lot of teachers do. Let's watch a movie. And when I went to college in St. Louis, one of the very first memories that I have of introduction to Shakespeare was iambic pentameter. Now we're going to introduce you to meter and from an intellectual angle. Well, I don't talk about iambic pentameter with my inmates, and we don't watch the movie. I don't allow them to watch the movie, but we connect on a human level to the themes and the ideas in the play. Always tell the truth. It's the easiest thing to remember. I had a friend who was an insurance salesman back in Bowling Green, and he said, well, I could be an actor. I lie every day. Shakespeare Behind Bars, we do exactly the opposite. It's a process of taking off the mask and connecting with the truth. It's stripping away. And a A lot of the population I work with have oppositional defiance disorder, dyslexia, Asperger's, a lot of behavioral and emotional disorders. But where to begin? Acting is a lot like teaching in that our goal is to tell the truth, to motivate, to inspire. I'm trying to facilitate change by connecting with them on a human level and getting them to connect to this text and not getting caught up in iambic pentameter. But how can I connect personally? So I submit that teachers are like actors, and our book is the text. Where to begin what we're all trying to do. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, and let us, ciphers to this great account on your imaginary forces work. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hooves in the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings. Carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me chorus to this history, who, prologue-like, your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. So talking about reluctant readers, in Shakespeare's day, 400 years ago, approximately 70% of men could not read or write, about 90% of women. Today, about 6 million secondary school students are considered struggling readers, and about 1 in 4 can't identify the main points of a passage. In the population that I work with, about more than a third of incarcerated youth read below a 4th grade level. And that's also, a lot of the adults that I'm working with fall into that category as well. And naturally, there's a link between that and delinquency that we see. Men, at some times, are masters of their fate. Shakespeare Behind Bars was founded 18 years ago. We are the oldest company of our kind in the country, working with incarcerated adults and youth, using exclusively the works of William Shakespeare. 3 years ago, we separated from Kentucky Shakespeare Festival. They allowed us to take the name and start our own not-for-profit. So we're currently a not-for-profit charitable organization called Shakespeare Behind Bars, Inc. Our mission, you may have heard of the documentary. It premiered at Sundance Film Festival in 2003, and it chronicles a year in our process of working on the play, The Tempest. I think it's available on Netflix. Our mission is to offer theatrical encounters with personal and social issues to the incarcerated, allowing them to develop life skills that will ensure their successful reintegration into society. We believe that all human beings are inherently good, and that goodness lives within them and must be called forth. We use the healing power of the arts to transform inmate offenders to who they were when they committed their crime, to who they are in the present moment, to who they wish to become. I facilitate our year-round program. This is our Romeo and Juliet cast from last year. This is the program featured in the documentary. I'm in my 5th year of facilitating this program. We currently have 22 inmates, and over the course of a 10-month process, we put on a full Shakespeare play. So in June, I will hand them a script, and then we go away for the summer, and they cast it themselves. In September, I come back and I say, okay, who's playing what? And I don't want to be the one to facilitate casting of a bunch of inmates. So they figured it out. I always tell them, I'm not getting in this, guys. So they cast it, and over the course of 10 months, we worked through the play. We start out I do a month of monologue workshop. They all learn the same monologue, and we work on it. We do trust and ensemble exercises. We have student groups. This is looks like some university students from Bellarmine on that visit. And I come out about 250 hours over the year. And in June, we present 3 performances for an inmate audience and 4 performances for a public audience. These are some of our different performances. And I said it's not about acting, it's about them telling the truth. It's about them taking responsibility for their life, for their crimes, connecting with that character, developing empathy. We also have 3 Michigan programs. Kurt Tofflin, up in the right-hand corner, is the founder of Shakespeare Behind Bars, and he's my colleague, and he runs our Michigan programs. So we started an adult program up there, and we have 2 juvenile programs that he facilitates. I facilitate our 7 Kentucky programs. This year, the Department of Education called and asked me to start a program specifically for 18 and 21-year-olds who've recently gotten to prison. So we started the Journeyman program. And I always love a challenge, and so we went out to the hills of eastern Kentucky and in a rural area, and there's a prison called Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex, and a lot of people said, you're never going to get anybody in that population to do Shakespeare. So I went out and I presented the program to 24 inmates in that category, and 7 of them volunteered to do it, and they became founding members of that Journeyman program. So that should be an annual thing. I'll go out there 1 week or 2 weeks in a year. We also started one at Luther Luckett Correctional Complex, where we already have a year-round program. And my hope is that that will act as a feeder into that program. We currently have 4 left in the program. We had 1 get out. And we work on the principles. It's an introductory program. We're also partnering with the State Organization on Arts and Disability. I'm in my 6th year facilitating our juvenile program, and this is at the Clearinghouse for pretty much if you're incarcerated as a juvenile in Kentucky, you're going to come through Youth Development Center. This is the biggest one in the state. You're either going to transition out to a lesser facility, or you're going to go to a maximum security facility. And this turned into a multidisciplinary arts program. So they're creating the set, they're doing their costumes, they're incorporating music, we're incorporating playwriting. Once they get out of that facility, last year I started a Shakespeare Beyond Bars program, because we were working with these students while they were incarcerated, having a great growth, and then they would get out, and the only place that I would hear about them was on the cover of the newspaper when they committed more crimes. So the follow-up program is Beyond Bars. So we're able to meet with them and set them up with different career opportunities. It might not always be the arts. Most recently we had a student who his dream was to become a tattoo artist. So met with him and got him some books on art and got him into an art class and trying to find what they want to do and encouraging them to do that. And brand new for 2013, our More Beyond Bars program, working with abused, neglected, and abandoned children.